Welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. Please subscribe to the Unplugged or the main channel. Sorry about the noise going on in the background. John, how many pads should I use to polish a car? Very common question, guys. And when you guys ask me questions, it's my job, if that question keeps getting asked, it's my job to answer it in a video rather than typing it out hundreds of times. And I've had to type the answer to this one out many times. And it's a long, complicated thing. Now, first of all, it's a how, essentially that question of how many pads you should use is a how long is a piece of string type question. Okay, that's not getting out of it. There's just no set answer to it. Because when I polish a car, there's so many different ways I can tackle it, depending on what needs to be done. If it's a new car and the paintwork's in relatively good condition, but with just some fine wash-related marring on soft paint, then you're going to want to use a very fine compound and soft pads. Okay, and just whiz over the car quite quickly. Or if your car has rock hard paintwork, and this BMW paint is very hard, and I like hard paintwork because I find it's less prone to scratching, and it's got loads of swirls, then you're definitely not going to be wanting to whiz over it because you're really not going to take that many swirls out and you're going to be wasting your time. So the most efficient thing to do is a cut and finish. So you go in with a heavy cut compound and an aggressive, stiffer pad. You know, you can use really aggressive pads for sanding marks or deep cutting, or mid-range cutting pads with a heavy compound, and then a very soft pad like this red one or orange one, not so soft, with a soft finishing polish. So if you do 2 stages, you need twice the amount of pads. Okay, so that's the first thing to understand. Now, what I am doing, now most people want to use one pad. One pad. A lot of guys at home start polishing and I say to them, I say about 4 or 6 pads is about right, mate. I'm like, hang on a minute, that's fucking 60 quid, John. That's 60 quid. Forgive the little swear there. Hopefully the YouTube algorithms, the little YouTube detector won't pick that one up and punish me. I might beat that out. 6 pads is 60 quid. I don't want to spend 60 quid. Why can't I just use one pad? Right. When you polish, I am polishing this car at the moment with one pad because it's a very unusual way. I'm just polishing for a couple of hours each day, or maybe even an hour, then stopping and go and do other stuff. And then the next day I come back and I'm just slowly working my way around the car, which is a bit of an unusual way, but I've done that before. If you're not doing that and you're trying to get your car polished, you know, all in one go, or you keep polishing till you finish, what will happen is your pad will start to look like this. We'll put that in the light. So that's probably done about 3 or 4 sets. And this pad is actually now at the stage where I can't really clean it that well with a brush. What do you mean you can't clean it that well with a brush? So hold on. What I say is at the end of each set, you should take your pad, you know, it's going to be on the machine anyway, isn't it? And turn the machine on. Let's actually just do it. Okay, hold on a second. I'll do it outside so I don't get all the dust there. Do it on full speed as well. Now that has freed up and taken some of the polish out of the surface, but still this pad now, it's kind of, it's not saturated, but there's quite a lot of polish in there, so that as soon as I start polishing, the pad will fill up very quickly and the surface gunks up very quickly, and I can notice it when I'm polishing. So what you can do is just simply now, if you're a one pad user, is you can just take this pad off and say, right, I need to clean this pad out properly. Now look, the only way to do that is to wash it, okay? And the easiest way to wash it is the pressure that comes with a garden hose. go back in. Now that does two things. One, it flushes out virtually all of the polish out of the pad, and another thing, it cools the pad down. Yes, it cools the pad down. The pad will heat up as you kind of use it. And all that cold water flushing through it cools it back down, especially if you've really been hammering it. You can also spray a little bit of Surfex HD into the pad, which will help break down any oils that are in the polish as well. And you could work that product with a brush and then blast it out if you like. All the polish is going to go out all over the floor in your patio. So think about, you could have a bucket there, you know, and collect up all your polish slurry. And, you know, you might even want to take that slurry down the tip. But I would imagine most people flush that down the drain. So let's not go there. Someone will get bloody upset. Someone will get upset. I need to bleep the bloody out now. I need to bleep it out again. There we go. Now, you've got one other problem, guys, that this pad is soaking wet and you need to carry on polishing. So what I would do is, if I want to dry a pad, I have tons of microfiber. I get through tons of microfiber when I'm polishing. I've got tons of cloths, yeah? You never have enough of these, really. What I'll do is pinch, this is a clean cloth, and I'll put the microfiber towel there. I'll leave a gap so I can use this again, and then fold that over, and then push down on it like that. Put all your weight on there. Okay, and that the pad feels virtually bone dry. It's never bone dry, so you can pop it back on the machine and then take that outside, because it's going to make mess. If you want to go one step further and spin it out, to spin out anything that's left in it. I saw that went all over the camera lens. Let's just wipe that off. Okay. So I now have a bone dry pad and it's clean and all the pores are free. So the answer to how many pads do I need to wash a car? Well, the answer is the minimum is one. If you're using one, every 5 or 6, after every set, clean it out with a brush. After somewhere between every 5 and 10 sets, you could just flush out all the polish, cool the pad down, press it in the microfiber, stick it back on, spin it up, and it's ready to go again. There is still some moisture in this pad, but not much. In fact, not enough to really cause major problems. You don't want to really be using water with the Koch abrasive, so get it as dry as you can. The next thing is to have 2 pads, and then just take one off and, like I say, stick it, just spritz some APC on it or mist some water on it. Just don't let it dry, or put it in a little one of these full of water. And then when you go to swap, you can do the clear out. So that's the thing. What I tend to say is you can lose a bit of time doing this. It can take you about, 3 or 4 minutes. You just want to crack on when you're doing this and move on to the next set. So having more pads isn't more expensive in the long run, because it's wear and tear. It's like tyres, isn't it? If you have a set of winter tyres and you put them on, your summer tyres aren't getting worn out. So it's the same with foam pads. When you're using another one, that's not getting all the wear and tear. So you do get your money back eventually. So having quite a few pads is important. Now, if you go full Monty, this is an example of why it can become very expensive. So I run 6-inch pads sometimes. If I want to polish that roof with a nice big pad, 6-inch pad on a 150mm plate, I can stick these on. Okay, so I've then got to have heavy cutting pads in 6-inch, medium cutting pad, purples in 6-inch, polishing pads in 6-inch, the oranges, and the reds in 6-inch. And those pads are about 14 quid. So to have that set of big pads in every single size with, say, 4 pads of each is a lot of money, isn't it? Jesus, you're talking more than the cost of the polisher. 14 times 4, is that 56? 56 just to have the green bigs. So 56 times 4, you're talking 200 quid to just have a set of 6-inch pads. holy crap, that's more than like the polishing machines. It's a lot of money, isn't it? Then I drop down and I will have the 125mm pads. I would suggest if you're doing this at home, that is your bread and butter size pad. 125mm fitment pad. It's 140 at the business end. That's the pad that you're going to be using the most. After that, you're going to drop down to a 75mm pad. And that pad is, for me, essential. I do a hell of a lot of polishing with this. Like this wing, for example, I didn't polish it with this, but that section of wing there, you'd be much better off using this little mini than you would the 125mm pad. It will stall out less, it will just work better, I'll be able to polish that bit better. You know, even yeah, I mean, this mini, really, you could make an argument to say that a 75mm pad is a better tool for polishing a wing. Not quickly, if you're going to do it quickly, you'll want 125mm. I know that. You could even argue that the 75mm pad is the ideal pad for doing one set on this little triangle here, and then doing another set on this area here, because you can get into all of the gaps. And in fact, that's what I was using up here, for example. 75mm pad, absolutely perfect. This plastic trim here, what pad are you going to use for that? Well, this isn't perfect, this is rubbish. Well, it's not rubbish, but I'm going to have to go like that and then go like that, and with a DA it's going to be stalling out all of the time. So then that is why I use 40mm pads. So if I want to polish something like this, look how perfect it is. Boom, all the way down there and all the way over there. Perfect size. So really, if you're getting into your detailing and you have the budget, that is why, you know, having sets of polishers is really good. And at the moment, the minimum sets, if you want to go cordless, the XFE comboed up with this tool, this PXE, which I've just done another video on talking about how fantastic it is. Every time I use it, I'm more impressed with it. The power level, it's just awesome, and it maintains that power level well. When the battery's about to run out, I just get a hint. I can hear, but it's still working. I can run out on top speed, and then when the battery goes, boom, just turns off. You don't get any of that sort of fade, you know, where for the second half of the battery life, you're thinking, oh, I'm on low power mode here. It's really, really good, the batteries. So far, okay, I've only had it for a couple of months, but yeah, really impressed. But it's the capability. That gives me all of the capability I need. I still, whenever I use the 125mm free spinning XFE machine, like when I'm doing the roof, for example, where it's just lovely and flat, it doesn't matter if I use the free spinner or a rotary or forced rotation. But I really, you know, there's certain parts of the car where I don't like using a free spinning DA, and I notice it. Like if I'm trying to polish this door and it goes down into that wing there, it will stall out and I'll have to just polish up to that edge and leave that. And even do that with the Mini might be easier. When I'm polishing over this bit here, there's a divot in there, a valley, and the machine, the polishing machine, all along that valley will stall out. With the XFE, I can get it in there and it won't stall. With the XCE, the forced rotation, the free spinners, they work best on flat panels. They are going to stall, aren't they? You know, you're going to see them slow down and variance in the speed. But when I'm trying to polish certain bits of the car, it's all stall. And I'm like, I know that I don't want the machine completely stalled when I'm trying to polish. And that's the only thing that bugs me with them. Especially when you've got curves and trying to get right up to the edges. With polishes, with these machines as well, guys, this bit of the edge of the pad lifts. So it kind of, when you're polishing, it kind of makes a arc like that from the middle. So you're never polishing the edge as well, and that's another reason why the edges don't always get fully polished. You have to kind of overlap a little bit and look through, but the problem is you can't lean in a little bit to get on that edge with a free spinner because it will stall. And that's just the reason why I like the XFE, the XCE. Get it right, get it right. The names are so complicated, aren't they? Well, not that complicated. My brain's just useless. The disadvantages with the XCE or the forced rotation is the first time you fire it up, get it on the panel, you go, whoa, hang on a minute. It's like an unwieldy chainsaw, you know. It's going to pull you around a little bit. And the rotary will do that as well. Then after a while, it's not rocket science. After a while, you get used to it and you're just doing your set piece. Polishing is not difficult. There's little things that you'll just pick up and little things you'll learn along the way, but it's just like a set piece. So I know that I've polished up to about there. Next time, if I get the XCE out, I'll just do a set piece here and I'll do my little crosshatch for a couple of minutes. And then I'll move on to the next bit, and I try and be consistent. I try and wipe down properly, wipe down with good light. These cloths are not ideal, actually. I'm being really stubborn. I think what I'm going to do when I finish today, I'm going to wash up, do my load of washing, and then switch over to the yellows, a softer, more absorbent polish, microfiber. That literally after the first wipe, those ones will be leaving more polish than they're picking up, and you only see it if you've got heavy light. Whereas a nice soft pad, they sort of mop a bit more because you've got more fibres and stuff like that. They're more absorbent, better for picking up polish and less likely to scratch, although you can use these if you're careful. So that's it for today, guys. It's the question around, I've digressed as always, it's a question around how many pads do you need to polish a car. Minimum 1 pad, reality recommended 4 to 6 pads, unfortunately. Next good compromise from 1 is 2 pads. And unfortunately, guys, if you are going to stock a lot of pads and move up to a really good polishing system where you can hit all the polishing areas properly, rather than when you've got one machine and the 25mm pad, you're improvising, aren't you? You're improvising, like trying to polish something like that there with a 125mm pad on the free spinning dual action polisher is not great. It just doesn't work that well, because you're just going to have to touch the tip of the polisher on there, and as soon as you do, it's going to stall out because you're going over the kind of edge, if you like, and it's not going to be good. So, but that's the compromise. The reality is, some people are not going to really be wanting to spend hours polishing out all these little intricate bits of a car, you know what I mean? Some people just like, I just want to give it a quick buff, you know, flying over it. So it's up to you. I'm trying to do a really good job this time. So I'm going to finish off this roof. I'm going to polish that plastic bit there, and then this is all done. Now what I want to do is spend some time polishing that lower seal and that bit here. And what I think I'm going to do, unfortunately, is even this pad, even this mini here, can't get into this curve. This is a real tight curve. So, and I can't use a tilt with a free spinning machine. You can't tilt, they're designed to be used flat. So what I'm going to probably do is get the corded what's it called? The corded PE8-4 rotary with this 175mm pad. So that pad, and I can put an angle on the rotary because it's not vibrating, and just go all the way along there and get into that valley. So, Jesus, having the right tools does help. But, you know, that's the point. It's up to you. How much do you want to spend, guys? How much do you want to spend? Most of you want to spend less than 100 quid on a polisher and less than 30 quid on polishers and pads, which is doable. So, F6, and then either a orange pad if you want to polish on softer paint, or that purple pad if you're looking to put a bit more pressure into it and cut a bit more, but it still finishes out okay. So there you go. I hope that gives you a little bit of what's the word? I suppose it's a bit of insight, isn't it, on some things. And I know some of you, this is a very simple thing and you'll be dropped off a long time ago, but it's a question I get asked a lot. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care, and I'll see you soon on the Forensics Detailing channel. Bye for now.